Hello. I'm here to talk about my Kundalini experience. What I did not want to admit to myself was Kundalini for a very, very long time. So pretty much last year, it started in about June, I started just getting into all of the spiritual knowledge. I had been more of like a wild child, into experiences, not so much into spirituality, even though I had kind of been raised in that setting. And then there was a tingling sensation at the base of my spine. It started, and I just remember just scratching and scratching and scratching and just like not being able to like get deep enough, and it was just like the weirdest sensation. I remember googling it and being hypochondriac about it, and not finding anything and just like whatever, and it kind of went dormant and I didn't feel anything for a while. And then so summer came and went. I had planned this big trip to India. I was feeling just so connected with everything, and I never really felt like that before. I felt like my life was on a different course. I was more creative. I started writing. I started really getting into lessons of love and understanding, how we can all connect with each other, and, you know, the typical spiritual stuff. And so then it felt like I got ridiculously sick. I suddenly felt tingling, rushing like a river through a garden hose, basically, or when you press your thumb to a hose and the water just spurts out, but that was going up my spine. And at first it started feeling very blissful, but I had no idea. By the way, at this time, I had no idea what a chakra was. I had no idea what Kundalini. I didn't even. That's why it's so beautiful. The authenticity of this is because I didn't know jack shit. So then, I started raising up my spine. I started feeling it in my ovaries, in my stomach. I had been doing yoga for a few months, and I was just getting into these positions as if I was like giving birth. I was like trying to get into all of these like twisted contortions just to alleviate like the feeling. It just felt like swirling and whirling and all of this like this just stuff in my stomach. But it was, most of these experiences or symptoms were all in my back, and they still are, and I'm probably like 7 or 8 months into it. So then I got extremely fatigued, extremely depressed. I cancelled my trip to India. I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't want to get out of bed. I just thought that I had gotten on this beautiful, like, amazing feeling, and I had changed my whole, everything that I like wanted to pursue in life in terms of like experiences and craziness had been like all gone, and I really just wanted to like be connected with myself and go through like all my internal stuff and stuff like that. So I just didn't know why suddenly I felt I had so much guidance, and then suddenly I had just been completely cut off, like void. I felt like my personality was gone. Couldn't even laugh at, like, I'm a really upbeat kind of like giggly person, and then I realized like all I wanted to be was authentic, and that a lot of my personality was put on to make other people feel comfortable, better, class clown-esque kind of person. I could walk into any room, and I knew I could be charismatic, even though that's not really what I wanted to do at the time. And so I started getting really angry, and all of these emotions started coming up that I didn't really know who I was at all. But mainly this video is to describe physical symptoms, because those are what I have really been struggling with. The fatigue was absolutely astonishing. I couldn't even pick up a cup of coffee, and the thing was, it was completely fluctuating. Like one day I'd spruce up and I'd be kind of like be able to go for a long walk, and then the next day I couldn't get out of bed. So it was very cyclic and very like, I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and it's kind of what I wanted to make my own, is because I just kept saying like, a lot of their experiences are similar, but they're not like me. So I said, if there's one more experience that I could share that is in any way helpful, or someone goes, okay, this is what I've been experiencing, then it'll be remotely helpful and you won't think that you're crazy. So basically all up my spine, swirling, whooshing, tingling, like sometimes a little bit burny, but I never really felt a lot of intense heat and intense head pressure like most people have done. So I ended up being bedbound in a cabin with my mother, who, thank God, was slightly spiritual and somewhat still scratching her head being like, what is wrong with my daughter? And thinking it was MS. I had an MRI. I went down a little medical road, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. So huge sensations behind what I now know is my solar plexus, and then it kind of, what I realized, it would go behind my solar plexus and up behind my heart, and it would kind of alternate between the two. And I've recently found out that it's in terms of our chakras and the Kundalini energy, there's like a bottleneck kind of effect between these two, and it's the most emotional part, and it just is like, sometimes I just feel like it wanted to just open me up, and I know that I internally resisted it, and that this takes so much time, but you can ease a lot of your suffering if, one, you know that it's not medical and you've gone down the road and understand that it's not anything to do with that, and two, once you know that it is it medical, and you know that it's energy, it is just energy, and it is an intelligent energy, and all it is trying to do is release your blockages, and not necessarily that you've had a very traumatic life, but it's going to make you cry and do all of these random strange emotions that you have to embody before they clear. So this is going to happen, and once you know that it is energy, you can have a lot more time of opening yourself up to it, as opposed to, oh my god, this is like what I went through for like 3 months. Oh my god, I'm sick, I have like a neurological disease, and I didn't think it was like that dramatic, but my whole life had gone to shit. I couldn't get out of bed, I didn't want to see anybody, I couldn't explain what was going on, I didn't want to think everyone, like I was just like faking it, or I just like really wanted to be by myself, and I'm still kind of in that way. I only want to really interact with immediate family. I'm not yet in the throes of being around a lot of people, because this is something that a lot of people don't understand and don't really, especially like people who I've hung out with, they'd probably be like, what is wrong with you? So yeah, bottleneck effect for months, for 3-4 months. Then randomly one day it started shooting down my arms, one arm at a time, into my hands, and then sometimes into my feet. And what I've noticed is people think it a lot of people say it goes from one chakra to the next, it works on that one, and then it goes up. And it is necessarily in these two parts very much like that, but it also tingles all over, like all over my back, and it can change from second to second. So if someone goes, oh, how are you feeling? Like, where is it? I could be like, oh, it's in my stomach. Oh, now it's in my head. Oh, now it's in my arm. So it can just move so much, and if you really put your attention on it, it can intensify as well. But sometimes you do just have to, like people say, just change, like do something else. But I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't move. So I had like and my mood was horrible. You know, I was angry and I was depressed, and I didn't really want to go and do all these activities to take my mind off of it. I just couldn't. But I have found a lot of things that have helped, and I think that it has a sort of cycle to it, and I'm finding a lot of similarities. People feel a little bit blissful, different connection with source, then that connection gets cut off, and you kind of have to go through a dark night of the soul. Energy is very intense, and then it kind of mellows out. Now for everybody that is different. I know it is, everybody has a completely different experience with it, but it's all the same thing. Then recently, so I moved to Los Angeles, and to basically just get medical treatment. Back in Ireland, I didn't really had a long waiting list. So here I am still, I'm waiting to see a neurologist just in case, but I have done enough research and have been living with this enough, and the strangeness of it all is 100% Kundalini. It is 100% energy flowing through my body. There is no other description I could describe it as. And it now it started tingling at the top of my head, at the back of my head. So it is very much all back sensations. I haven't really gotten any front other than the stomach. And I kind of wanted to start talking about it, maybe showing how it progresses, how I change. It is very gradual, it is very slow. People think that you're gonna change one day and it's gonna be boom, I am this evolved person, but there is a lot of devolving that goes with it. And what I mean by that is that you do become kind of a crappier person before you become a better person. I know that for a fact. There are a lot of traits that were in my past of this kind of brattiness, moodiness, little anxiety, anger, these things that were parts of me, my shadow, that I didn't really like and that I genuinely had thought had gone, are now coming back up. But the only way, as I said, to purge them is to become them. And you need to, even though it's happening, you need to let yourself have them. You need to let yourself do it. And I have literally resisted myself, crying, being like, I don't want to be an angry person, I don't want to be this kind of person, I don't want to be this. And I cry, and yet I can still give advice on it, because I guess maybe we can all go through it together. I don't claim that I have any sort of grasp on it, but I do have experience with it. And I can release other videos. I've found about 10 to 15 things that tremendously help, especially physical symptoms. Those are the ones that I have struggled with them. Well, actually psychological pretty bad too, but physical symptoms are the ones I've really got a grasp on. And it does mellow out though, so it could be just that has been the time that I've been with it. And another thing, I did a lot of grounding, but without knowing I was grounding at the time, because my whole body was just swirling, whooshing. I felt because our nervous system is an electric circuit of the body, and it felt like I was receiving hundreds of volts more than I could more than I could deal with, basically. I'm getting all tongue-tied now. But yeah, I couldn't handle the energy that was coming in. So I remember I gained like 20-30 pounds. It's coming off now, but just to ground this energy, I would eat and do random things, like just needing to walk barefoot and needing to do all these things when I could. But now I understand, I've done enough research to understand why I've been doing all of these things. And so yeah, that's my experience. I have a lot more information on it, but this is a first video just to know that even though you are dealing with crazy energy in your body, it'll be okay. Like it's okay. It's gonna be okay, and it has an agenda, and it's going to bring you to something, parts of you that are beautiful and amazing, and that you would have probably never stumbled on unless you went through this. Because I really have suffered, but it's because I've had like a life plan. I wanted to be a traveler, I wanted to do all these things, and then suddenly I was overweight, bed sick, not knowing what was wrong. Nobody knew what was wrong, and I am in a place where I can't really do those things that I want to do. But you have to remember, you have to give your body the time to adjust to this new energy, to be able to upgrade in that way. You are going through a lot of physiological changes, and that takes a lot of energy on the body. So much. It saps it all. So if you were this adventurous or ambitious person, and then suddenly that's been stripped away and you don't know what to do next, just remember to calm, breathe, and let it do its thing. I am frustrated with not being able to go out and do all these things, but we just have to give it time. And that's all I wanted to say about it for now. If anybody sees this, which I don't know if you will, let me know if you want to see more videos, because I have a lot more to say on it. Bye!